Beautiful. We're good to go. All right, let's get started. Welcome to another episode of the Game of Life podcast. I'm thrilled today to be joined by music theatre superstar, the best music theatre superstar in the entire world. Yeah?
Some are saying, yeah.
Axel Duffy, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. I'm glad this has finally worked out.
You and I both, yeah.
Now, first things first, congratulations are in order because you've been cast as Marty McFly
Thank you very
in
much.
Back to the Future, the musical. And we were talking earlier, you're actually heading off in a couple of days.
Yep, we've got this in just before rehearsals start. It's perfect.
Yeah. So, I mean, take me back to actually auditioning for the role and finding out how you got it.
Yeah, so I mean, as always, it's a pretty full-on process. I was actually originally in, I believe, for the cover of Marty McFly, and that's kind of how that's what I was marketing myself. That's what I had experience in doing. And then kind of as we got through more rounds and I started doing more material, I was going, oh, okay, hold on, maybe that's not the end of the story here sort of thing. And I was in Brisbane at the time doing a show there and I was just flying back and forth.
Was that Greece?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, right.
So then I was, picking my weekends and flying back. And then on the final audition, I got out of it. I think we had a Thursday morning matinee and I got out of that, flew to Melbourne, did the final audition, flew back to Brisbane, did the night show of Greece, collapsed, slept for 4 days, and then I was in a rehearsal room for something else a couple of weeks later, and missed a call from my agent, and that was it. I called him back and got the news.
It's so funny how far in advance they audition these shows because, as you said there, you were still in the process of doing Greece,
Correct,
which was quite a long time ago. Now,
yeah, it would have been
finished.
end of January this year.
And there are a few things you were doing there in between. I mean, you did One Day in September and Beep Test recently. So, I mean, was that, at all frustrating to keep secret for a long time?
Not really. It was almost a relief because I think for me, one thing I've not had experience with yet is any kind of public hype or acknowledgement around a lot of things because I've not been in the spotlight so much previously in the career. So it was nice.
This is your first big
correct
thing, right? Yeah.
So it was nice to kind of sit with it myself for a little while and with my my partner and my family and kind of come to terms with it there first before it went public.
So you were allowed to tell people?
There's a few that I was like, I'm going to go crazy if I don't tell my fiance, if I don't tell my parents.
Yeah. I guess, I mean, as you said, there's a lot of hype around this show, obviously, because it's Back to the Future.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how did you deal with that hype then when it was announced? Because people went crazy online when it was announced that you were going to be Marty McFly. There's a couple of promos out there which you've already filmed for Back to the Future. So how did you take all that feedback?
Not great. I don't think. I remember the promo video came out, and I'd got my brief of repost it at this time, and I did that, and then I looked at my phone 15 minutes later, and there was 300 notifications, and I went, great, I'm gonna turn my phone off. That's me done for the day.
Yeah.
It's pretty overwhelming. I don't know how people that do this on a much larger scale and consistently handle it and do it. And I don't think I'm a very kind of social media savvy or inclined person. So it's a bit of a shock to the system.
Right. There's going to be a lot of learning that comes along with this.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, you're going to be working alongside Roger Bart as well.
Mm-hmm.
But is there that added responsibility that you're starting to think about having to lead the company as well? Because you are in that dual, lead situation with this show?
Yeah, a little bit. It's something I have thought about. I think I'm really fortunate, like you said, someone like Roger who's got a lifetime plus of experience. There's also some really other experienced, professional, fantastic performers and leaders in that company. So I think I'm in good hands and good company. And I don't know if many of these people will need me to
Right.
lead them in
Yeah,
that way, sort
yeah.
of thing. So I think I've got a little bit of pressure's taken off in that way.
Yeah. Still, though, there would be some pressure with those eyes on you, looking to you to,
For sure, yeah.
again, like carry the show, because Marty McFly is like a massive character.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be a tough run.
Yeah. Are there ways you're preparing for this show, or are you? I mean, how do you prepare until you're actually in the thick of it?
Right. I think for me, it's kind of always been this way. Is if I can be as, I think it's kind of the same for everyone. As on top of your material as you can be, and as familiar with the show, and as kind of, I couldn't tell you how many times I've watched the movie now. I've lost count.
Right.
And it's just trying to get kind of into the world of it and familiar with the story and kind of the way these characters express who they are and what they're feeling. And yeah, the rest will happen hopefully in the rehearsal room.
I'm looking forward to seeing it later this year. I mean, yeah, it's right around the corner.
It's not far away.
Yeah. Did you think you got the role initially when you walked out of that audition room?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
It was one of those auditions that I finished and went, kind of no matter what happens, I've accomplished something here that I haven't previously. All the material is in, vocally it's in a spot that I don't have a lot of experience with. It's all, really high kind of 80s rock belt sort of stuff. But even when I got the call and my agent was like, "Hey, you've been offered Marty McFly," I was like, "Wow, this is huge. Like, is it an onstage or an offstage cover?" And he was like, "No, it's the role." And so even then, I didn't quite. I think my expectations were at a completely different spot, and maybe that's from, like I said, my history and my experience as a performer and being, an ensemble cover for most of my career. But yeah, it's still a pinch me moment every time I think about it, which is cool.
Do you think it's truly, sunk in yet that you're going to be doing it, or do you think you'll realize sort of in those first few weeks of rehearsals when you're actually on stage during tech, when you're in front of an audience for the first time, that then it will sink in?
I think so. It currently feels like I'm kind of staring at the mountain.
Right.
And by the time we get to rehearsals, you go like, "Oh, great, I'm at base camp now," and this is when I realize the scale of it. So at the moment, I'm just trying to enjoy that view because, I don't think it has quite hit realistically yet what this all entails.
Are you setting high expectations for yourself in that way? Are you holding that pressure on yourself for those expectations?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a lot of us in this industry will sit that way. You're always your harshest critic. I don't think anyone's putting quite as much pressure on me as me.
Other than yourself.
In this way. And that may change as, it's a public job. It's a very public art form. And so that may change when we get audiences and they feel a certain way about the show and my performance. But at the moment, I think it's a fine balance of, chasing better and not driving yourself into the ground with self-doubt. Yeah. And so I'm kind of trying to walk that line as much as I can at the moment.
Are you a perfectionist?
I think so. Or maybe not even perfectionist, but I'm rarely kind of satisfied with the work I've done because I've been really fortunate to be surrounded by incredible performers and talent and work ethic, throughout my career, throughout my training. And so I think there's always something more to aspire towards. And it's encouraging to see yourself get closer to it, but that gap always feels pretty big.
Right. Well, what I've seen from the work that you've done over the last couple of years with, One Day in September and Beep Test, comedy seems to be in your wheelhouse. And of course, like Back to the Future is a comedy.
Yeah, for sure.
So is that something you had thought of when you first got into this world of performing, that comedy was something very much that you wanted to pursue?
Yeah, I think it's always been an interest, and it's felt more comfortable and more like home. But that being said, I've never really made a huge distinction. Right. I think like performing comedy, and I look at a show like Beep Test or like Spelling Bee.
Spelling Bee, of course,
The
yes.
Haze as
Yeah,
well, which
yeah.
are, very much both
Yeah.
comedic shows. But they didn't feel any different performing that to say something like Harry Potter.
Right.
So it's more like it's a style and a rhythm that I feel like I sit more comfortably with. But as in terms of an approach, it always kind of feels the same, which is nice. So I can go into Back to the Future and kind of, it is a comedy, but as far as Marty's concerned, it's a nightmare.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's more a style and I guess a rhythm and externally it's different, but internally it feels very similar.
Do you get nervous before you start a new job?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially one like this where I haven't. Like I was saying to someone the other day, I've sung once in a commercial musical. I went on as a cover once in Greece that had a song. Otherwise, as far as commercial music theatre goes, I've never sung on a stage other than one night in Adelaide. So it was a great night in Adelaide.
Yeah.
But there's an uncharted territory sort of thing going on. There's a lot of unknowns that I think, keeping up this what am I trying to say? The keeping up the show schedule and the physical load and the vocal load is something that I've not had to do yet.
Right.
So I think that terrifies me going into it because it's not easy, and I've seen so many people do fantastically or fail and it be out of their control, sort of thing. So yeah, that definitely weighs on the nerves.
Something I've definitely found working within the creative industry and getting to know people in the creative industry as well is that you have a hurricane of ideas swirling around in your head that you have to try to communicate with the peers that you end up working with, right? So you have to be a good communicator in this industry to a certain extent. Have you found when you get into a rehearsal room for the first time and you start experimenting with different ideas, is it hard to communicate those ideas to people that you work with?
Yeah, it can be.
Yeah.
I think interesting, and maybe it comes back to why I got into acting and theatre in the first place. For me, that was where I was not nervous to have a conversation with someone, was because I knew exactly what they were going to say back to me, and it kind of took the social anxiety out of a conversation, and it put predictability right at the front. So I think because maybe that's where I came from and how I started, that meeting someone and finding their process and figuring out how they go about it, especially with the director too, and the language they use and how involved they want to be in the process and all of that sort of thing it's very much a dance to figure out. Fortunately, there's quite a few people coming up in this show that I've worked with before, so
that must put your mind at ease somewhat as well.
Absolutely.
You know how to work with them. Yeah.
But it's also it's a really vulnerable thing to talk. Especially as you start, like you said, it is a comedy, but as you start getting into more personal experiences and that's it's a vulnerable thing to open up and try and communicate with someone in that way. I guess that's the beauty of it, is when it works, it works.
You said you've watched Back to the Future quite a few times now. Are you worried at all that you don't want to necessarily, mimic what Michael J. Fox did in that role? Or because you just very much want to make it your own thing, right? It's like
for sure.
Are you worried that you've maybe consumed too much of it now, that you don't want to necessarily emulate that, if you know what I...
Yeah, look, very possibly. And I think this is one of the other unknowns I have going into the process. We don't know where that line is of kind of delivering what people expect from the movie. And, the show is nostalgic for a lot of people. So how much I can kind of fill that nostalgia need and want of people coming to the show. Obviously, whatever happens, it has to be honest to me. I can't be just, impersonating Michael J. Fox and his performance.
Right.
Also, he's one of a kind. It would be silly for me to try and just reenact what he did. So I'm not sure. The answer is I don't know. yet, which is exciting.
Yeah.
We get to kind of find that, and that's the challenge. And I know, speaking to some of the other people as well, and I've done now a few, interestingly, kind of movie to musical or movie to play pipelines.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's always an interesting concept of going, how do you find you in a character that is really famously done by someone else, and there is expectation, and do you
Right.
play completely against it? Do you go dive headfirst into it? At the end of the day, that's kind of also not my call a little bit, which is nice. You know, there's really qualified people that get
Right.
to find that balance as well.
Are you hyper aware now of bad habits you may have versus when you were younger? So as the years have gone on, I'm more hyper aware of my bad habit of catastrophizing situations, right? But the real difference now is as I've gotten older, I can catch myself falling into that bad habit and stop myself from falling into that bad habit.
Yeah.
Are there bad habits that you may have had when you were younger that you find yourself falling into now, but you're able to catch yourself from falling into that bad habit?
Oh, that's a good question.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's a good question because I had no idea if it made sense. It's a fairly new question that I'm trying to find the right way to phrase.
No, it's good.
Yeah.
I mean, the first thing that pops into my head is almost the reverse. There's habits I have now that I go, oh, I never felt that way younger, and when I was, you know, in my
Right.
first and second show sort of thing. I'm not sure. I think because I feel like I keep really fortunately getting put in different positions from a career standpoint, you know, going into work, that whether it's indie theatre or commercial theatre or a musical or a play. And so each time it's slightly uncharted territory, and I get a slightly new perspective on it. So I don't notice those kind of things as quickly, but I do know, and I think this year I've been really lucky or blessed, however you want to put it, to have a lot of new experiences that have just brought nothing but joy. You know, the Beep Test musical being one of them, Back to the Future being another one. But I definitely found myself before those, you know, end of last year, stepping into jobs going like, oh, I'm not coming at this with the same kind of unfiltered joy that I had originally. And it was not because I didn't love it as much. It was just because I had, I knew what was coming in, what the job was going to be as I came in, and I had understood that it was work, and I had been out of work, and I had been in work, and I'd just gotten more used to it all. And so I needed to find and remember that kind of, that childlike or that naivety maybe of walking into a job going like, oh no, that's right, this is what 14-year-old me dreamed of.
Right.
And so I think that's been cool as I'm getting older, to go bring that back. You had it right.
Yeah.
Originally.
It is an easy thing to. It is easy for that sort of to slip away from time to time because it does feel like a race a lot of the time. So it's easy for that to be clouded sometimes, right? So what did you want to be when you were growing up? I mean, you said there that this has been your dream since you were 14 years old. Is this something you always wanted to do?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I was doing musicals in high school, going, oh, I really enjoy this, but I don't think I ever expected to be able to do it. So I remember when I finished high school, I was like, I'll audition for a heap of drama schools. If I don't get in, great, I'm going to take a year off, have a little gap year, I'll try again. And if I don't get in that second year, I'll call it. I'll go, I think weirdly enough, aerospace engineering was my plan B. That's what I was looking at coming out of uni, because I'd done my advanced mathematics, I'd done my physics, and that's what felt quote unquote stable. And then I remember as I was auditioning for these drama schools, I was going, oh, I don't think I want to go sit at a desk. I think I want to do this. There was just a heap of people singing to each other and workshopping scenes, going like, oh, this actually could be what I love. And then fortunately I got into drama school and spent the 3 years there, and I moved to Perth for it. And by that point I was kind of like, well, I'm kind of it's all or nothing at this
Yeah,
point,
yeah, yeah.
right? So yeah, I think I was really fortunate that enough people believed in me to go, no, stick at it. You can take this further and you can turn this into a career. Because yeah, growing up, I just didn't expect to be able to. I think I was expecting to be an engineer and to do some, amateur theatre on the weekends as a hobby.
Just as a hobby, yeah. So, I mean, yeah, did it seem like it was far out of reach for you at a young age, that career?
I think so. I don't know
Yeah.
if I ever thought far enough ahead to really know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I knew of some people that had made it, that had like come from my area, growing up, and that were in musicals. And but yeah, I think I was really naive, going, I'll try, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And I think I was fortunate. My parents were always, I'd kind of watch them work jobs that they weren't in love with, and they were like, just find something you enjoy, do that.
Life's short.
Exactly.
I mean, you said you had a lot of people there that believed in you, but was there a point you could, say, okay, I started to believe in myself that I can do this as well?
I mean, that day to day it changes. I think it's something I got to kind of tell myself every morning.
Yeah.
And I think going into this process will be even more important to look myself in the mirror in the morning and go, no, you can do this. I believe in you. It's, I don't think I don't know if I've quite gotten there yet.
Yeah.
I think part of my brain still goes, they're going to realize you're a fraud at some point. Like it's that imposter syndrome. It's the, I feel like at any moment, everyone could come to and go like, oh, I don't know why he's still here. What is it?
How do you pull yourself out of that imposter syndrome mindset when you fall into it?
My thing's been kind of almost leaning into it, going like, great, we'll enjoy it before they figure it out.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're in the position you're in, and it's make the most of it. Like you said, it's that life's short. I'm here, why not enjoy it while I am? Because maybe it won't last. Maybe, there's a very good chance after Back to the Future, I may never be cast in another show, and that's okay. That's the risk we run.
Yeah.
So it's like, why not enjoy it while I'm there?
In saying that though, do you think far ahead into the future beyond, the contract that you're about to undertake?
Not really. No. I think I've tried to go like, oh, where do I see my career? Where does it end up? But I mean, 17's the oldest I've ever played on stage. So I don't know when that's going to stop.
Yeah.
I don't know where it goes after that. When I don't look like a child anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know what next. I don't know what sort of, positions and roles I'll be going in for.
Yeah.
So it's kind of easier to, maybe that's a lazy answer, but it's easier to just kind of not think about it.
That's interesting what you just said, that you do play younger roles, obviously, because you look really fucking young, right? So is that something you had to reconcile a little bit, that like, okay, well, I'm only going to be playing a certain type here?
No, it's something I'm thankful for every day.
Yeah.
I think it's got a lot of advantages because not everyone did stop growing at 13 like I did, and not everyone does still look like they did as a kid. And it's brought a lot of opportunity for me, and it's also where I feel comfortable from a character point of view. I can't imagine, maybe that's an emotional immaturity that I can tap into and that feels really close to the surface. No, it's been very helpful.
When did the first big job come then? Was it Harry Potter?
No, it was Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, right.
Yep, which was the end of 2020 in Perth. I think it might have been one of the only shows going at that time.
End of 2020?
End of 2020.
Yeah, right, okay.
Yep, so we had to go over in quarantine, and I got to do Oklahoma over there, and that felt like the first time that someone really went, we'll take a bet on you come on in. We
Yeah.
trust you to kind of take this story and this character. And yeah, it was really cool.
So Oklahoma, how long was that run again?
Maybe 6 weeks.
6 weeks. So it was
Swing over there.
fairly limited.
Yeah, no
run,
one could
yeah.
travel interstate to see it, so it had a really kind of small captive audience.
Captive audience. Yes, absolutely. How do you think you went in that job? Anything you think you'd do differently?
Yeah,
Yeah?
it terrifies me to
Yeah.
look back. I was having this conversation with someone. I think if I go back and watch a performance from 5 years ago and I don't cringe a little, then I go, well, then I haven't changed much.
Yeah,
in
right.
in that 5 years. So
Yeah.
I'm really fortunate to say I look back at that and go, what was I doing? But I also look at that and go, there was, some seasoned veterans there. There was some, incredible performers in that show that I got to learn from. And that, I go, that really shaped, I think, how I approach work, and the fact that I was getting to do a show in the middle of COVID with other people that were also getting to do a show in the middle of COVID, and understand how fortunate we were to do that. And so for that to be your first show, it's a really, really beautiful attitude, I think, that it's set up moving forward.
Do you try and look back at previous work? Do you find that a helpful thing to do? I mean, as you just said, like, sometimes it can be helpful to look back to see how you've improved, and if you haven't improved since those first few jobs, and like you're not improving, right?
Yeah. I struggle to do it with kind eyes and with empathy for myself. So no, not normally. No, I think I look back at process, or I look back at pitfalls that I had in that process, and that's really helpful. To go look back at challenges I was having with, telling a story, or technically, with a song, things like that, and look back and go, how did I figure that out? Or today, how would I figure that out? And that's really helpful, because again, if you make the mistake and you can learn from it, you never forget that mistake again, sort of thing, because a solution's come about.
Do you think you actively take those lessons that you learn from job to job into the next job? Do you try and tell yourself, okay, I need to remember what I learned from that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's kind of the main thing I'm trying to take from workplace to workplace. Because I left uni, and going into a show like Oklahoma, I left uni and I'd had 3 years of full-time training. I probably could have done with a fourth at the time. I still felt undercooked, I guess is the word. So I think I walked into all of my kind of first jobs, Oklahoma, Harry Potter as well, especially, going, I just need to, be a sponge, learn as much as I can. And it served me really well. And I think that's a mentality I've tried to keep going forward.
So Harry Potter, which you've mentioned, I mean, that would have been a pretty mammoth thing to walk into.
Absolutely.
Were you ready for that when you joined that show?
Yeah, I mean, I'd auditioned during uni.
Right.
And I'd gotten close, and had not. That was kind of my first rejection from the industry to deal with. So it felt really full circle to then get a call 12 months later and go, hey, are you scared of heights? And I go, no. They go, great, here's a contract. I'm going like, oh, but I haven't auditioned. But yeah, no, that was mammoth is the perfect way to put it. And I think, again, naivety really helped. I wasn't as overwhelmed as I should have been going into it, which was really helpful. And again, I've still got, people I consider family from that show, because it was, I was in it for maybe 2.5 years, but the show ran for twice that almost. So yeah, it was monumental.
And that would have had to have been, was that your longest running contract? Yeah, right. Yeah. Were you ready for that 8-show week?
No, I don't think so. Definitely not 600 shows sort of thing. That was its own each milestone you hit,
Yeah.
you kind of look back and go like,
I get-
it feels
yeah.
different from the last 100 and from the last 100.
I guess Oklahoma would have exposed you to it somewhat, but of course, like Harry Potter, I mean, that's more
Yeah.
full on, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when we went to the one part and all of a sudden it's a 3.5 hour show.
Yeah.
You know, that load is huge as well. So no, nothing really prepares you
Mm.
for that. And I think that's where it's really helpful to have people that know how to work hard all around you and show you, kind of lead the way and teach that ethic.
I mean, quite a few legends were in that show.
Mm.
Are you okay with going up to people who are seasoned, who have been in the industry for a long time and asking them for advice, or not necessarily asking them for advice, but just more so conversing with them, I suppose?
Yeah, I think fortunately all the kind of legends of the stage that I've worked with have been so willing to and so open to go, if you need help, I'm here. And that's a really beautiful thing that I don't know if that exists in the same way in other industries. And, you know, I always look at, you know, entrepreneurs finding mentors and I go like, oh, why is that not really as much of a thing in our industry? And I go, well, I think it is. It's just less formal because
Right.
it's so often it can be so well set up
Yeah.
that people are so open and so willing to help, which is, it's really beautiful.
I mean, the music theatre industry, I've found from the people I've talked to over the course of doing this podcast, people I've got to know, it's a very supportive industry as well. And a phrase that somebody hit on this podcast, which I often refer to now, is success doesn't happen in a vacuum. Have you found that the industry that you found yourself in is super supportive? And yeah, again, like success doesn't happen in a vacuum. Someone somewhere along the way helps you with confidence or finding a job or like just offering a phrase or, you know, words of wisdom that you hadn't thought of before.
Or even, you know, I couldn't be in the position I am if a heap of people hadn't given me a job.
Yeah.
You know, there's all of that I think, and hats off to the people that can make their own work and can kind of trailblaze their own way. I can't, you know? So, yeah, it's a mix of supportive, friends, family, colleagues, and then also kind of getting the lucky breaks too.
Yeah.
It's a big part of it, yeah.
I often think about this now more so, maybe because I have a podcast which is very self-reflective, but I think back on conversations that I've had with certain people that have actually had more of an impact on my life than I initially thought in that moment. So, for example, like if I hadn't had someone I worked with 3 years ago say, hey, would you like to start a podcast? Then that wouldn't have had a domino effect of where I find myself now, where I'm actually doing work now, which I always dreamed of, right? And if I didn't ask this person this question at that moment here, then that thing never would have happened. Do you look back every now and again and think, oh, if I never had that interaction with that person, all these dominoes wouldn't have fallen and I probably wouldn't have found myself here?
Yeah, I don't think I have quite kind of landmark moments like that. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of them were through drama school.
Yeah.
There was a few moments like that where either something clicks or someone pulls you aside and goes, "Hey, keep pushing, keep trying. I believe in you," that sort of thing. And also, you know, the opposite too. I think that's more what stands out to me as I go, oh, there were specific moments where someone went, "We don't think you can do this," and I think I was fortunate to be stubborn enough for that to also fuel me in that same way to go, great, you've lit a fire, you know, in my belly, and you know, I think interestingly both approaches kind of have the same end result. But no, yeah, very much agree with that.
Would you say you're a pretty stubborn person?
I think so, and I think once I'd committed to going, you know, I'm all in on performing. it was going to be pretty hard to say, we don't think you should, or you don't have it, you know, whatever it was. I think I was always, you know, raised to do everything in my control, you know, to work as hard as I could. And I was convinced that I would, if I didn't make it, that was fine. But it was never going to be because I didn't work hard enough. It was going to be through things out of my control, which is, again, that's part of the risk that we have being in this industry, is there's so much out of your control.
Yeah.
But so when someone would be like, oh, we don't think you could do it, and I would take that as a, oh, you don't think I can work hard enough to put myself in the right position sort of thing. And yeah, that's probably a stubbornness that I need to address.
A comedian who was on the podcast quite a long time ago said something along the lines of, you know, he had people in his life saying, oh, you know, why would you go and be a comedian? You know, who would ever go and do that? And he would say, oh, okay, I'm going to show these people, right, that, no, yes, I'm going to go and become a comedian. And then there was a point in his life where he wanted to be an actor. So, and everyone again said, why would you go and be an actor for? And he, you know, showed them, you know what, I'm going to be the best actor I can be. So he felt like he had built his whole career based on spite, showing people that he could do certain things.
Yeah.
I mean, do you try and, if there are those sorts of people saying, like, you know, why would you go and do that? Like, can you really make a career out of it? Are you good at like just tunneling, you know, tunnel vision and just go straight ahead and not think about that?
Yeah, I think so. And I think, I mean, I do really relate to,
Yeah.
to that, the comedian actor story. But I think if I didn't love it as much as I did, I would be worried that I would say that, oh, I'm here because of spite. But I think I've always had it's kind of been a really generous balance with, I'm also here because it's what I love to do. And I don't feel the same as when I'm on stage. And there's, you know, that flow state that you can get into when you're even, you know, even if I'm in the back line of the ensemble, or I'm off stage watching someone I cover trying to pick up their, you know, their blocking and their track. There's that moment there is too precious to let other things be the driving factor.
Yeah. Do you try and remain as present as possible when you're on a job? I mean, something like Harry Potter, for instance, as you said, you're on there for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Were there ways you tried to remain as present as possible without having to go into theatre each day and not switching off, but sort of getting through a performance and thinking, what the hell did I just do up there?
Yeah. I mean, it's a difficult thing to do. And I think, especially once you're hundreds of shows into a run, autopilot is a dangerous thing. There was a couple things. Potter was probably one of the easiest to kind of ground yourself again, because and I was fortunate to be a cover on that show, and every few shows I would find myself in a fish tank swimming in front of 2,000 people. And you go, it's pretty easy to go, hold on, take a second, look where you are and appreciate that. That's pretty easy to do when you're in that situation. Also, I know, you know, a lot of people will use the like, oh, pretend that me as a kid is in that audience, you know, in the first show that I saw, you know, whatever that may be. I'm also like, these people have paid so much money. Theatre is in so many ways really inaccessible in Australia. And so if someone's managed to be there, they deserve a great performance. And I think the only way you can give a great performance is to be there and be present in the moment.
If you're told someone important is going to be in the audience, or someone you know is going to be in the audience, do you like to know that, or do you prefer not to know?
I love to know.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I love doing smaller theatre or indie theatre. So theatre in smaller spaces, or, you know, or independent theatre. For that reason, because there is something really cool about, I love the conversation you get to have with an audience that you can sometimes lose in bigger stages and bigger theatres. And I think that's even cooler when someone you know is in it's also getting to show them and share it with them. Again, it's such a vulnerable thing, sharing a story with people, and it's kind of like, I don't know, it feels like a love language a little bit. So when you get to share it with someone that you know or someone that is important to you, I think that's, it's really cool.
When people you don't know say, "Hey, I really liked you in that," what is that initial what are those initial moments like for you when people you don't know compliment you on your work?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the most validating kind of feelings, and what we do is so it's so easy to get caught up in doing it for yourself and judging.
Be in that bubble, right?
Yeah, exactly. And judging each performance on your metric of it and how you think it was perceived and all of those things. And that's why a lot of people get really frustrated with a quiet audience. But, for me, I love it because I'm going like, oh, I'm silent when I watch a show. That's how I connect with it. And I'm just all ears. I just want to listen and be invested. So you never really know how people feel about it. So when they can go out of their way and tell you, hey, that resonated with me, or that brought me joy, or I really appreciated what you did. It's huge. That's it's kind of, it's not why we do it, because the validation isn't why we do this.
It's like the icing on the cake.
Yeah, but it's knowing that your goal, which was to change someone, has worked.
Yes. Yeah.
That's really cool. It also, this is, this might come across as facetious, and I hope it doesn't. But it is my goal. It's a real dream of mine to get a scathing review. I've always wanted it, because if someone can feel so passionately to go like, hey, the show was fine, but Axel Duffy was horrible. He was atrocious on that stage. Even that, to me, there's something in that going, the idea that I would have made someone feel so passionately about something.
Yeah, that they took the time to actually construct this article. Yeah.
And it feels like it's the same thing. So feedback, positive or negative, the idea that you can make someone feel so strongly about something, that I think that's what's appealing to me.
That's so good. You've worked on a couple of Australian musical theatre projects, which is extremely rare for an Australian musical to get legs at all up in this country. With one day in September and Beep Test, as we were talking about earlier. In working on those projects, did that inspire anything in you to maybe say, hey, maybe one day I want to work on my own musical?
Ooh, I mean, you're right in saying it's really rare, and I feel so fortunate to have been involved in both of those. I've never had the itch to create my own musical or theatre. It just feels like a skill set that some people have, and some people have the itch and the want, and I've never really gotten that. But what I absolutely love is workshopping someone else's work. And that's what kind of the experience I got to have on both of those shows, where you're, in neither show was I creating a character from scratch. Someone else had always played the role before me.
Getting to originate
a
role. Yes.
That's really, really exciting. And I think that for me is that's where the attraction is to go, great, someone else has brought something to the floor. Can I sprinkle something on top of it, or how can I best tell that story without the constraints that we often get in, commercial music theatre or theatre that we are kind of replicating here in Australia.
How rewarding did it feel afterwards? And let's talk more specifically, I suppose, to One Day in September, because I know that was a long gestating project for both Mav and Cohen, I believe. And for it to actually finally have, a staged production in, a proper theatre must have been so rewarding for them. But how rewarding was it for you to, at the end of it, to have those, the positive reactions from those audiences?
Yeah, it almost felt like we were able to facilitate that moment for them. And in no way facilitate might be the wrong word, because so much work and sacrifice and money goes into putting on Australian work. Because writers and, the creative teams are having to do that all themselves, which is such a sacrifice and such a risk that they have to take on. And that's why I think it's so rare to see it in Australia as often. But yeah, being able to be a part of that and to go, I was a little chess piece in what was bringing a story that someone has poured their heart and soul into. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And that's really exciting. And I think the more, I don't ever really finish a show going, oh, I hope someone, I know maybe this is contrary to what we were just talking about, but I don't finish a show with the intention going, oh, I hope someone noticed me or really liked what I did in that show. For me, the goal is always, I hope someone loved that show.
Yes, yes.
You know, it's the, and I think
it's never a self-centered thing. It's more of a like, hey,
correct.
We all did this together.
And I think
we helped deliver this together, right? Yeah.
Spot on. I think in Potter was the first time I heard the phrase. I think a fantastic actor called Mark Doggett introduced me to this phrase and this idea of being a cog in a machine. And if you take that cog out, the machine stops working completely. But we don't want anyone to see that cog. People want to see the machine, and that's what we want. And it's a different way to phrase. There's no small parts. Everyone is so crucial and important, and so to be a little part in that chain, and to sort of finish a show and people go like, that machine made me feel this. That machine evoked this in me. That's really cool.
I wonder if this phrase will resonate with you. An actor once said on this show that you don't want to keep auditioning after you've gotten the role. Does that make sense to you? I mean, sometimes, you know, not that you're still trying after you get the job, but the people who have cast you have, you know, placed, you know, they trust you to do the performance, right? Have you found yourself, you know, I mean, I guess it goes back to the imposter syndrome a little bit, but have you found yourself letting go of that audition period and just saying, oh no, hey, they've hired me to do this job now?
Yeah. I mean, again, going back to advice that I got on my first day, I think you've had him on the show, Matt Holly.
Yes,
Told me day one of Harry Potter. He said, get through the first 2 weeks and it's so much harder to fire you.
Yeah.
And which was said as a joke, but it was also great advice to go, to kind of make me think about it. Go, oh yeah, I'm in this room. I'm going to stay in this room. Let's do what I'm here to do.
Yeah.
And I like that. You know, you don't want to audition after you've already auditioned. I would argue and say you never want to audition at all. Yeah. It's not a nice feeling. It's not a nice process. Oh, excuse me. But so I think it's almost as much as you can bring the rehearsal room even into the audition as well and go, I'm here to play. I'm here to show you how I would do this. If that fits your puzzle piece, great. And then if you hire me, great. I'm going to come and be that puzzle piece in the room. It's all about, you know, different creative teams will make you feel that more or less, and environments will make you feel safer or like you are still proving yourself.
How are you with auditions now as the years have gone on?
I think I have quite a healthy mentality towards auditions, but the amount of kind of terrible audition stories I have kind of makes me think I have a real imbalance from internal and external kind of perception through it. It's, I mean, a million actors have said it of, you know, pretend like you get 10 minutes to play the role. 10 minutes to do the show that you're in there auditioning for. And I think it was really coming out of drama school into COVID was tough. But it really, really quickly made me realize how much I miss performing and how lucky you are to be on stage or to have an audience to sing to or to perform to, an audience that's going to listen to you for 5 to 10 minutes. And so I think that kind of flicked a switch in me to go, great, if I get to audition, it's that, you know, that might be the closest I get to performing. So, you know, why dread that?
Yes.
Why
not take advantage of that. Yeah,
Exactly right.
Because you
And
don't know when you may be able to perform again.
spot on. And
Yeah.
I was in a really fortunate position, employed in Greece for 18 months, but I got to walk into that Back to the Future audition and go, I haven't sung for anybody for 12 months. No one's sat down and listened to me sing, and you guys can't leave. Eventually you'll ask me to leave, but you guys are sat. You get to listen to this for the next 10 minutes, and I get to do what I've trained to do and love to do
Yeah.
for 10 minutes. So let's, enjoy it while you can.
I like to. There's a topic of conversation that I like to bring up on this show, and it's the negative self-talk that we, sometimes, do to ourselves. Maybe we've sort of already touched on this, but I'll ask it anyway. Has there been a negative story that you've told yourself pretty consistently over the years that you've had to counteract with a positive story? And for me, I did speech therapy as a kid, so I would constantly, growing up and, when I was younger, I would, run through my head, am I sounding articulate to people? Am I tripping over my words? Am I speaking way too fast? So I had to, wind that back a little bit and say, hey, you're talking just fine to people. Just get rid of that. Put that to one side.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably goes back into the bad habits of it all, but
yeah, no, I get what you mean. For me, it was always, I always went, I look young, and all of the young characters sing really high.
Yeah.
As a general rule, if you're a young male presenting character in a musical, you're probably singing really high. And I was always like, I can't sing high enough. I'm not singing high enough. And it took for me to go, my voice is where my voice is, and I just need to learn to kind of, again, work with what I have.
Yeah.
And I think once I could take that pressure off, I could start to actually go, maybe I wasn't as limited and constrained as I thought I was. Otherwise, I mean, I didn't start dancing till a little bit later in life, like when I was at drama school. So all through being in the dance ensemble of shows, I'm always looking around at people that were dancing when they were 3, going like, I don't move like that. I don't have the proficiency they have. And I don't know. I think there's a lot of different things I've nitpicked with myself along the years, but always going back to like, it's the classic, go back to tell the story.
Yeah.
Just be honest with people from a storytelling perspective. And if, if your foot's not pointed the same as the person next to you, no one in the audience cares.
Right.
If you're having a ball on stage, no one's going to be like, his arm's at a different angle, or he looks a little bit uncoordinated next to her.
Yeah.
So,
or they miss their mark, or whatever
exactly,
it is. Yeah.
Exactly.
Is there an aspect of performing that that you need to improve on, or you're just not there yet with something?
Yeah, I mean, it's the cliche. I think all of it, realistically. I'm there's nothing in my skill set that I go, there it is.
Yeah.
That's perfect. I can bank that now. And in 10 years, if that's the same, I'll be stoked with that.
Right.
I think that's, maybe it's unrealistic expectations of myself, or, it's looking around at other people going, I don't think, how do I put it? I think everything that I can do, I can point out to you someone that can do it better. So I'm going, there's got to be room to improve. There's got to be a higher ceiling. So all of it. And I think whatever's in focus at the time is what, to me, feels the most pressing issue.
Yeah.
Through Beep Test, there was a moment about there's a lot of shifts between finding this really like honest, truthful comedy that still fit in a kind of bigger caricature, outer shell sort of thing, and juggling both of those at the time felt really tricky, because I was like, I feel like I can give you the naturalistic version of this in a heartbeat, but finding a more heightened version of that while keeping it truthful was tricky. So for that whole run, I was like, I just don't think I'm nailing this, and I need to improve this. And in Greece, as I was dancing next to some, fantastic dancers, I was going, well, this is what I need to fix. So I think whatever's in the spotlight at that moment feels like the issue.
Has your idea of success and failure morphed over time? Like, I thought I wanted to be a comedian for the longest time, and when I didn't pursue that any further, then I thought, oh, that was a failure, right? But then I found writing, then I found podcasting, and through podcasting, that helped me, become more confident with, my talking abilities, right? So that's success in my eyes, right? And I've had success in other ways. So the goalposts keep changing all the time. Has your idea of maybe you had an idea in your head what you wanted to do when you were 14, but has your idea of success you're about to be in, a very successful musical, but has your idea of success sort of changed for you over the years?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think, sometimes it's, if I can continue to live just off acting, that's considered success. But, I've been working as a gym instructor for the last 3 months, but I would say that I'm kind of at the most successful point of my career so far. So that kind of burst that notion.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think now my perception of it is, if you can be loving theatre and doing theatre, in whatever space you can facilitate it, whether that be, in a commercial music theatre, or if you're, doing your independent productions or your local amateur theatre, if you can be doing theatre and loving it, that's success, because that's how we all started doing theatre, was because we loved it. And I think if you can keep that alive, for me at least at the moment, that feels pretty successful.
I'll start to wrap up shortly. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Thank you so much. I really loved it. It's been a pleasure.
I'll just hit on two more questions and we can wrap up. Now, I'll probably have to edit this out depending on when this is released. But from what I understand, Connor and Jackson are doing a soundtrack for Beep Test the Musical. Is that right?
Yeah, I meant to text them before this to ask if I could talk about it.
No, that's fine. Based on whenever this comes out and whenever that's announced, I'll either leave it in or cut it out.
Yeah, lovely.
Maybe release it as a small clip online. But how is that recording of the soundtrack for Beep Test the Musical gone for you?
One of the coolest things I've ever done. I think what they managed to do with that show, even before the recording, was incredible. And I think the fact that it gets another life and another way for fans, and we had so many school groups come and see it, and it was on the curriculum.
All right. Yes.
So I think the fact that it becomes even more accessible to them is really exciting. And it's a dream to be on an original cast recording. I think very few people get that. So I'm so excited. I'm so excited for it. It sounds fantastic.
Looking forward to listening to it. Maddie and I had a great time coming in to interview you, Orb, a couple months back. One last question, and it's a question I always end on. What are the words of wisdom you live by?
This is my big concern coming into this, because I feel so much less than wise. And I was going like, I don't know if I have anything that people need to hear. It's tricky. For me, I think it's got to be something around work hard and control what you can control.
Right.
And for me, that's about work as hard as you can. Yeah. The rest will sort itself out. Yeah. I think that's the best I got.
No, that's fine. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. Really do appreciate it. People can see you as Marty McFly in Back to the Future starting in September. This will probably be released around October, so you'll already be into the full swing of things by then. I'm looking forward to it. Fingers crossed I can get Roger Bloody Bart on the show.
Wouldn't that be cool?
That'd be so... I would be so nervous for that one, but I'm looking forward to seeing you in the show.
Thank you very much.
It's
going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being on the show.
Anytime.
Great. Beautiful.